they had to open a link on my Google Classroom and to make a slide, one slide
Oh,
that will explain the water cycle using the vocabulary that we learned, and actually create the cycle, with the arrows and add pictures. And another group had to write a story using their own, using the vocabulary that we learned about, let's say that you are a raindrop in Israel, in Africa, I don't know, you can choose wherever you want. And they had to write a story about it. And the third group had to come up with a play.
Oh, wow.
For a skit and to act it out and show us, the water cycle. They could add songs, they could add costumes, they can add movement, whatever works for them.
Hey, listen, you don't play around when you do a station rotation. You go right to like really creative stations. I like that. So you had a creative digital presentation for one. The third one was the play or the skit, and the second one was the creating the story. Wow.
I like where you actually use the protocol. I was, there are protocols about how to react, what to do when you are in a conference or something like that. It's very interesting. So last week we were in.
Look, just so you know, I wasn't trying to use any protocol right now. I was just trying to be me. But go ahead.
No. I think that you're doing that automatically.
Oh, okay.
It comes natural.
Okay.
But one of the things that they said that in a group, there is the person who is the presenter.
Yeah.
There is the time taker. And usually all the participants need actually to participate and respond.
Yeah.
And the first thing is actually you need to repeat about what the presenter is presenting.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you're right though. And I know you're going to school right now too. So on the side, so we can always be a little bit meta about coaching. When you coach virtually somebody, it is even more important than in person. I think that you can work on your listening skills and your active listening skills. Like if you're talking to somebody in person, you can be silent and just listen. But if you're working remotely, I feel like it really helps to have something like that. But it also is just because I want to take notes and be ready to ask you. So how much times were they spending at each station? Is it something you did one day, multiple days?
No, it was, with my two classes, and they had like 25 minutes on each station. And I would actually, I think that, I would add maybe another 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds a lot, but actually it takes them time to work on the slide, to come up with the skit and actually start to practice in it, or to even write the
Yes.
story.
I agree with you. That's why I was asking you the question too, because I was curious.
5 minutes was the minimum, but I think that more than that, I maybe another 5 minutes, not longer than that, because some children can start to.
Which of the station were you the most worried about? What, before doing it? Yeah, did you have one where you had more fears or more questions about how that was going to play out?
I did the stations with my assistant in the class, so it was not just by myself.
Right.
So I divided that. The children that worked on the computer actually read the instructions that I gave them on Google Classroom. The instructions were written in English.
Mm-hmm.
My point was not to let them struggle with language, but actually give them direct direction so they will know how to work independently. So actually that worked well, and it was very interesting to see if one of the children didn't know anything. He saw that I worked with another group, so he asked his friends, and they had like problem solution. They used their skills, and it was wonderful.
That's neat.
Say it again?
No, I think that's neat that it kind of happened like this, but you also had the foresight to give them clear direction, detailed direction online. which I think
Yes.
really
So
helped.
that was good.
Hmm.
The other group that worked on the play and the skit
Hmm.
actually worked with my assistant, and she delivered. When she reported to me, she said that two of the groups were were more serious about the work.
Hmm.
The one group was more challenged with actually get the concept of what I'm asking them to do, and to use the right vocabulary and to come up with ideas. That it was very open-ended, and it was too much for them, for that group. I worked with the group about the writing,
The story.
and they need and we used the vocabulary, and we had a conversation first about this cycle. I explained to them what exactly I'm asking them to do, and they I think it's all related also to the creativity of the child, because basically they had to describe the cycle, and the cycle, it can be in English, in French, whatever you choose. Yes, it's just to see they are using their imagination in that assignment. Some of the children I could see actually that when I was working with them, that some of them actually didn't understand the basic steps of the cycle. That actually affected their work after that. Even though we sat together, it affected their ability to complete their Google slide, and it affected their ability to actually contribute something to the group when they did the play. So it was very interesting. I was managed actually to really pin the children that was still struggling with the comprehension of the whole process. So
that's really interesting, because I think that one of the side effects, and I'm using a medical term, but I mean it in a positive way. One of the side effects of doing a station rotation is that it allows you to learn a bit more about student learning, because they travel in a smaller group. And then when you work with them in that smaller group, it's a lot easier to figure out really what they're getting or not than it was with the whole class. And the other thing that is interesting in your experience is, what's hard sometimes with station rotation is not everybody can start at the same point. And that can be hard sometimes, because if a group start at the point of the story but they struggle with that piece, and then they're moving on to the other ones, then it's hard not to carry some of that into the other station, and it's hard for you to adjust to that too, because you're with a group and you have another group coming, so you can't really respond to that. I'm proud of you, Eddie, for trying to do this, because I mean, one thing to remember, it's also a fall in which that class was a bit challenging. I mean, unless it's a different class.
No. It was both of the classes, but the class that it was more challenging, actually, surprisingly, they were most of the time on level 1. Most of the time.
Did you do anything related to that? Like, were you thinking about proactive way to support that? Like, what did you do to set that up?
Yes. When I introduced the station rotation, I explained to them what my expectations from them as a class and as a group when they travel. I always find that the transition time is the most challenging part, because it's like they are not losing it, but it's less structured. So I find that those times are more challenging to for the transition. But most of the time they worked well. I can say that the final product of the actually smaller class was much higher than the challenging class, because I don't know. I think that it's also affecting their ability, to produce like high level. So I don't know.
So I
But
want I want to take a moment to pause and have you look back and be proud of yourself.
I can't. I'm Polish.
Well, I didn't know that affected that ability. First of all, I don't think I knew, and I don't think I knew you were Polish.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever talked about that.
Oh, we haven't.
No.
Okay, so yes. I mean, I was not. I was not born in Poland, but my father did.
Okay.
So I have.
And so in the Polish culture, we're not very like we don't celebrate ourselves, or we don't.
We're not taking any compliments.
Okay. Yeah. Which
No, I can't.
so I don't know how you managed to work with me because I give some, so that must be hard for you. But no, but it's really it's a victory to think that you were able to do an activity like this one with a class where at one point you didn't know if you could do any group work, and that you were able to set up clear expectation and have them mostly follow through the whole section. So I think that's a great victory in itself, that I think you need to take a moment to think about. I'm proud of you for having pushed yourself to do that. Now, out of this little experiment, what are some of the main learnings for you that could have a positive impact in the future? And when I say that, it doesn't necessarily mean, Roman, I want to do station rotation every week. I don't care. Like, to me, it's really more about the learnings from the activity that make you want to explore aspects in the future more in depth.
I have to. It's a big question. I need to think about it. You know, I enjoy the station rotation. I think that also the students like the different activities, and it's a different way for me to assess actually what what they got, what they received from the whole process.
That's a good point.
Even though I thought that I will be able to do like the final station rotation, also especially the final about assessing them about each and every cycle that I plan to teach them. Even a station rotation like that at the end of like a small unit was very good for me to have like an overall understanding of who are the children that are still challenging and what who got anything from my class. That was good. What do I want? Where do I want to push it? This is the good question. I need to think about it. However, I have to tell you, our school began to use Seesaw.
And Hadas has been using it with me.
Hadas is using that with you? Oh, really? Okay. So I didn't manage to get the training yet about Seesaw, but I would love to see how I can integrate that, because this is where the school is pushing us. I need to start working with the students. I need to learn a little bit more about that platform, because I'm not familiar with that at all. I have to be honest with you. I have my Seesaw, set up on Clever, but
I'll be glad. Yeah, I'll be glad to do this with you and focus on it with you. And then the truth is, like, the station rotation experimentation, even if we close it now, some of the learnings might help us with other aspects of what you do next. So if we focus on Seesaw for a while, what will be mostly interesting is figure out a project that we could use it for to test it out, right? And when we're gonna do that together, you'll probably see that naturally some of what you experimented with in this project might come through here. So I would love to focus on Seesaw with you next. Do you want to start today, or do you feel like, because you're right before your trip, it'll be best to like make it our goal when you come back from Israel?
Tell me what I need to. I understand from Hadas that I need to do like a couple of sessions with the students about introducing to them Seesaw. So we have four general studies class in the grade.
Yeah.
Two of them were already introduced by their general studies teachers, and two of them not. That means that one class of mine know how to use Seesaw, which I don't yet, and other one doesn't.
Okay.
So I need to, I think that I need to work with them first about that platform. and what does that mean to them and to me too, and how can I utilize that in the most beneficial way, or how actually they can use it to utilize.
So since you're leaving at the end of the week, and I'm assuming you wouldn't start anything between now and the end of the week, correct? With Seesaw, or were you?
I don't know. I think I don't know, because tomorrow I have like I want to look at the schedule. Tomorrow it's an F day. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I cannot tell you. I mean,
Okay.
I will try to.
No, but I don't want to push this way. Like, I'm not trying to push you to do it before you leave. Don't think that. I was just gonna say, I think based on the timing, and it's Tuesday and you're leaving at the end of the week, I think it would be challenging to try to do this now. So I'm thinking it's almost noon, and our session would usually takes about 30 minutes. So I'm thinking maybe what we could do is plan a session for right after when you come back, with nothing happening between now and then with the kids. You're going to be in Israel on vacation. And then when we do that session together, we plan to work together on Seesaw, and we share our screens, and I show you how it works. You can set up your account. You can try to see how a student will.
I have everything.
But you could try to see, like,
I can show you what I have.
okay, but maybe we could focus on, like, creating a class, seeing student work, how students would sign up to it, like helping you get really familiar with it so that you can introduce it to students. Would that be helpful, or you feel like?
No, I mean, I will. I need to go over the links that Hadass sent me, because I couldn't find the time to do that.
Mhm.
But I need to go over the links and see, what I can do, and we can definitely schedule, a meeting like that. But I want to come a little bit more prepared. So
Yeah. But understand that for me, I don't want to give you any type of work assignment if you're about to go to Israel. I don't want you to think that you have to take work with you. If you're choosing to take work with you, that's fine.
For me, I need to do that.
Good,
anyway.
good. So,
but as I have the 2 classes set up.
Mhm.
I have all the students there. I have everything.
And you said that she sent you some. She said she sent you some links for Seesaw.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the links that I'd share with her. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take this cycle for you to try to look at our links and try to familiarize yourself with Seesaw. As you do this, if there are any questions that come, write them down. And then when we meet together, we can start from like a place of like what you've been able to do. If you've been able to explore and it's all clear and great, then we can go straight to like, okay, let's plan a teaching idea with it. What could be a project we can plan together with it? If you're coming with a lot of questions, then we can use your question and try to help you with them. Does that sound better? Does it sound like a better course of action? This way, maybe it'll motivate you to look at it before our next session without making you feel like, oh my gosh, Roman is giving me all that extra stuff to do.
No. I'm sorry, darling. It's not you. No. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Mamash no.
What does that mean?
Okay.
Mamash lashno?
Definitely.
Oh.
Mamash, it's like definitely not.
Oh, definitely. Okay. So you should start speaking Hebrew to me. That's good. I'm gonna need that. Okay, so let's do that then. Let's make a note that next time we're gonna look at Seesaw together. Try to see if you had any questions about if you need any extra support with the beginning, and then as soon as that's done, we move into planning a strategy with it that you could be testing it out for. And then I think that will be a really nice thing to add to your practice. The nice thing with Seesaw too, it will really work well with group work as well, because there's that piece with Seesaw where like Hadass has been using it this way. Students can record little videos or voice over things so they can reflect on their work. So it could be a really neat thing to marry the what you've already started doing there. So let's do that. Let's pick a time then. Maybe that will work for that session. When do you come back?
I'm coming back on the 20th, which is President's Day.
Okay. Do you want to meet that week, or do you want to give yourself a little bit of time and meet the following week?
No, I do want to meet on that week. Can we do that on the 22nd?
The Wednesday? Yeah, I have you. No, I don't have you. No. I have 11:30 available that day, 12, 12:30. I have many times available that day.
I have lunch duty. I can do that. When do you have?
I have pretty much time between 11:30 and 2:30.
I can do, it's 12:15. Can we do Can we do 12:45?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna send you a calendar invite, and then we'll plan to meet that day and look at your seesaw questions, and then start getting really concrete with it, and see if we can plan an experimentation with it together. One thing about what we did today that I want to show you before we leave, as you were sharing your takeaways, I went into your app and I shared some of your reflection and takeaway into your playlist, because we had opened like a station rotation strategy. And I always want you to have the work you do reflected in your portfolio so people can see that you're experimenting in a classroom. If you have any interesting artifacts from this activity that are easy for you to share, either some of the Google Slides the students have created, and then you can totally share that with me now. You can share it in an email. You can go in the app and put it in the strategy, whatever you prefer. And if you send them to me, I'll super easily transfer them to the strategy. Strategy is called a station rotation model, and it's like in blue in your playlist. But if you want to just email that to me or share it with me, then that will be awesome. I can put it in the follow-up email tomorrow if you want as a reminder.
Okay.
Is that okay? Because I'd love to have example of a student work and creation for this strategy. That sound good? And then have a good trip.
Thank you, Don.
And I'll see you after you come back. And then maybe before we start next time, before we jump in Seesaw next time, maybe we can look at a couple of pictures, and maybe you'll tell me about your favorite dish from this trip.
Oh, I'm super excited about it.
I know. Have a safe trip. Thank you so much for your work, and thank you so much for pushing.
Wonderful. Are you still there at wherever you are at Chicago? What?
No, I'm in Boston this week, so I'm not at home. I am with the Better Lesson team in Boston. You see, this is not the usual setup. It's the office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm here for the week. We have like a professional development at the end of the week, and then I'm working from the office for 2 days. So this way I get to see my colleagues for a while.
Didn't you think to move from wait a minute, you're in North Carolina?
Yeah. So I could if I wanted to, but they don't force me to. They also let me do my work from where I am. I wouldn't mind moving to Boston, even though it's cold. I would actually probably like it. The only thing I think that is really tying us to Charlotte right now, our kids are in a school that is pretty amazing. It's a public school, but it's also French immersion, so they're like learning French at the same time, and that doesn't really exist there, or at least it's not public, so it would be really expensive. So that makes it a little bit hard to leave right now. Yeah. Have a good. Yeah. Have a good rest of the week of the day. Have a safe trip. Say hi to Hadas for me. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. I have back-to-back calls. Sorry about that. Oh, let me stop this recording thing. We usually do